And let me once more acknowledge you by saying that you are my hero. When the history of this country is written by us, your name will be somewhere on top because of the noble act you did 5 years back. You saved us from the clutches of state capture. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, I've never met you before, but I don't know if I'll ever get this opportunity again, because the last time we had an executive president in this house was more than 2 decades back when Honorable Thabo Mbeki came here. That was during the honeymoon period. Now it has taken more than 2 decades for a deputy president to have an audience with the Khoi in this province. We have turned 360 degrees. I thank you very much. Well, during that time, that was the honeymoon period. I think now this marriage is on the brink of being dissolved, because some of us have records. I've engaged with all 3 MECs seated here in the front row on all matters which Khoi Maotwe and the DG have articulated here in this meeting. What is said about our governance in the province, that we have an unresponsive government. We have a government which is not accountable. We have a government which doesn't listen to us. I'm not putting anybody on the spot. The former Minister of Finance, when he greeted members of Parliament, he told them that, good morning, millionaires, that all of them, they earn in surplus of $1 million per annum, while we traditional leaders earn peanuts. We don't even have housing allowance, let alone medical scheme allowance. Well, I appreciate that the DG has so much encapsulated those issues. Going to the General Deputy President, I've been on this road before. There was once a coalition of traditional leaders during the turn of the century, whereby Honorable Thabo Mbeki gave Honorable Deputy President J.G. Zuma the responsibilities that when you impose local government in our areas of jurisdiction, now you are pitting together 2 bulls. And we are not prophets, and we have never been. And we indicated then that what the government is doing is a recipe for disaster. That we didn't have any enabling legislation pertaining to traditional leaders. Meanwhile, there were wall-to-wall municipalities. That road we traveled, it has not yielded any results. Now this is an opportunity to redeem yourself, Deputy President, because this marriage between us traditional leaders and government has gone irrevocably. Maybe you are going to resuscitate this marriage on your second coming, who knows? This house was not inaugurated earlier this year in March. We were told that a government proposes that for any function to be held, the money should not exceed 25,000. And last year in March, when the then Premier addressed us, he made many veiled threats pertaining to the new act. And unfortunately, he left office before we could engage him on his speech. The 14th of February has come and gone, whereby those threats, we were told that if we had not submitted the 60% names as per the legislation, we will be in big trouble. So maybe some of the politicians here must take notice that maybe to make veiled threats to traditional leaders will lead to your demise politically. In conclusion, Deputy President, well, we have hope. Your presence only in our province has given us hope, because Deputy Minister Babela and his entourage, Reference Fiso Zulu, the DG, and all of them, they know my plight. They have tried their level best. I don't know if ever, because there's concurrency between province and national, if maybe there is defiance, we don't know, maybe there is an act of intimidation. Well, that's subject to anybody's interpretation. Let me give my colleagues an opportunity to express themselves, because I don't want to get emotional. Because some of us have hit a brick wall repeatedly, whereby we have respected the political leadership. We wrote them countless emails, countless letters. Some of them never had the courtesy even to acknowledge those letters, let alone to respond positively. So maybe if we can have a change of government, maybe things might change. Because in football terms, when the team is performing badly, the coach might make certain substitutions. And if that fails, the coach might be given money to purchase new players. If that fails, the coach might be fired. So we are on the brink, Deputy Minister. For the past 27 years, we have been singing the same tune. We had the likes of Nkosi Mzimela. We had the likes of Isilo Samabandla. We had the likes of Kgosi Matanzima. We had the likes of Kgosi Gumede, who we found in the struggle in which we traditional leaders want to have a place in this government. Here with me, I've got a copy of the resolution taken during the inaugural Indaba of the Kgosi held at Beachwood in June 2017. None, zero, of this resolution have been implemented. None of them have been implemented. Minister Skwacha is here, Deputy Minister. We had a meeting with him and the minister somewhere in March here in Mahikeng. I pleaded with them that the old apartheid legislation, which gives the Minister of Land Affairs nominal ownership of the land, must come to an end, which forms part of these resolutions, whereby we've been subject to ridicule by officials of the department who are supposed to be the proxy for the minister when we call community meetings to make tribal resolution in matters relating to land usage. So we are pleading with you, Deputy Minister, that apartheid has been out of our legal system for almost 28 years, but we traditional leaders, we are still being subjected to some apartheid legislation. Finally, Deputy Minister, the traditional courts bill has been before Parliament, I think, for the past 10 years. More than 25 million people of this country reside in rural areas, and they are being denied justice. We are being led by the colonial law, which doesn't speak to our culture and tradition. So I implore you, Deputy President, to please expedite the Traditional Court Act, because we've been rendered absolute. In conclusion, Deputy Minister, the municipal councillors, they work with members of the community who serve with them as ward committees. They are remunerated 1,500 a month, those members of the ward committee. Meanwhile, members of our traditional councils are being remunerated 350 per month. And that 350 per month was the brainchild of the late Edna Molewa, who was a premier of this province from 2004 to 2009. Members of our council are still being paid that pittance. When I was a member of this house, we took a resolution that the 350 be increased to 1,000 rands. Up until today, I've been earnestly seeking that resolution and asking why it has not been implemented. Finally, Deputy President, we were in Rustenburg a little under 3 weeks back, whereby we had to discuss the, what do you call this? The regulations of this new act. You were given a day to respond to these regulations. And you know very well, Deputy President, that it is very difficult to amend legislation. I once attended a Salga workshop where a certain gentleman by the name of Ramashala gave me this new sentence of malicious compliance, whereby we will be called as traditional leaders to make inputs, maybe on a bill or on a policy. We will do that. When the bill now is an act, you will find that none of what we have deliberated forms part of the new act. So, thank you for your indulgence. And I'm going to repeat the words I heard on television this week, which were said by my namesake in Mpumalanga, Mandla Msibi, who said that the deputy minister must account, the deputy president, sorry, if he's removed from office, he should at least she should be given an opportunity to tell us if he failed or not. So coming back to my initial words, that I still congratulate you. You have redeemed us as South Africans, whereby we've been subjected to new words in our dictionary, like fire pool. We don't know what was next, but you have been our saving grace. Thank you very much.
Khosi Masibi, ga go bonolo go kgalema dikgosi, mme re kopa gore di preamble tsa di telele le di poeletso tsa se se tlhalositsweng ke Kgosi Mautwe, re kopa gore magosi ba leke go di tshwara. Kgosi Ramkoka.
Kalebo Hamme. Kotsi Ramkoka Wabuamon from Ramuka Stad.
E ka mai go ga Kgosi ga o utlwa le gale sentle.
Kalebo Hamme. Taksimolle ka go tlhompha Deputy President Mabuza le delegation ya di ministera ya tleng ka le yona, premier le di MEC, Mem Saudi le batle le bona le ketapele ya rona bo Northwest Re Mautwe. Nna ke Kgosi Ramkoka go tswa ko Ramkoka Stad, Moses Kotana region. Let me first diagnose the problems that are facing traditional leadership in the province. There's only one cause of the whole fracas, of the whole problems that are faced by traditional leadership. That problem is the department. The Department of Traditional Affairs has not transformed even an inch. It is still operating as if it is still the time of the Batu stands. All the detractors, all the conflicts find their expression here in Mafikeng within the department. The department is not here to assist Bohosi. The department is not here to protect Bohosi, but the department is here to open floodgates for our detractors to find traction in their fight against Bohosi. Hence, there are so many challenges with regards to Bohosi in the province. So therefore, new standard operating procedure or manual has to be developed. New culture in the department has to be developed. The old cultures of taking Mahosi as being minors, of instilling fear in Mahosi, of controlling them and make them a symbol of has to come to an end. The department has to transform. The personalities, the persons has to transform. There should be a complete overhaul of the department. Our problems will be reduced. The same problem goes to our recognition of our headmen. Me, for one, I have requested for over 10 years now, I have requested for recognition of traditional headmen. That has never happened. And we are now moving towards election or a reconstituting of traditional leadership councils, and yet our headmen are not recognized. In those villages where there is no recognized traditional headman, such creates an opportunity for district coordinators, for district officials to come in as governors. They are effectively governing our villages, our sub-villages. The district coordinators, they are even presiding over customary issues. And that is very disappointing, that we have officials who are now replacing traditional leadership. Ba ikeditse magosana ko metsaneng ya rona. Ke a kopa ko premier hore anke magosana a rona a recognize-iwe. Re setse re supile hore magosana ke bomang. Because if you don't assist, if the province, the department is not assisting Mahosi, but on the ground, the opposition party on the ground, the detractors, which are everywhere, even in churches, there are detractors, there are opposition parties. Those same opposition parties, babona ekare lona halere support, but they are monyetla, but they are chance, then, but they become convinced, gore indeed, for sure, government is with us as we fight Khoi-San, as we fight Bogosi. So therefore, ke a kopa gore di Khoi-Sana tsa rona di acknowledge so as we can also consolidate our powers and we can be seen to be leading, not to be leading half of the community, but to be leading the whole communities. Ke a leboga, thank you.
Ra leboga Kgosi Mokoka, motlotlegi Kgosi Mabe. Ra Mokoka, excuse me, Kgosi.
Ki Moshe Mabe from Mabiskral, Batlakoba Matutu. Quickly, MEC, thanks for the opportunity, and thanks DP for coming to our province and allowing us maybe to engage together with your team. Premier and MECs present, our officials and mayors. DP, you mentioned a very important issue on policy. I think if we can be able to have social compact between the institution and government, for which as signatories will be able to follow the responsibilities each party has to follow. So that I will hate DP to come to another engagement where I'm sitting this side, you are sitting that other side, and I'm complaining and expecting you to respond. We should be having a dashboard for which we will be able to punch holes, how far we have gone, how far we have engaged, what are the things that are left out, and how to speed up those issues that are left out, so that the synergy between the two authorities can be able to benefit our communities. Because now we are sitting here, none of us is engaging on what are the programs that this institution of traditional leadership can follow in order to benefit our communities. We are talking about ourselves, but not the key people that make me a traditional leader. I'm a traditional leader because of the community. So wherever I engage, I have to put people that made me a traditional leader, because they come first. Should they disappear, obviously I will no longer be a leader. Now that dashboard will be able to assist us to engage with national, provincial, and with our municipalities. We engaged last time with the chairperson of Salga, the Honorable Mayor Molefe, to say we need to engage with mayors and come up with a dashboard from which, as traditional leaders, we can engage municipalities to make progress in our communities. So I think if we are able to do that, we'll be able to say who between us is lagging behind. You have brought a challenge to us and say nothing should be happening in the name of culture for which we are custodian. And yet we are not coming out and saying, not in our name, this is malpractice of our custom and tradition. So I think from there, that's my input, that if we can be able to craft that social compact from which we can draw, we can do monitoring and evaluation, and we'll be able to move forward as institution of authority. But lastly, Premier, let me congratulate you to have taken a resolution to dissolve the Zobotla municipality, because that municipality is detrimental to the development of our people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Kgosi Mabe, for the progressive input and important one of the important points to take home as the resolution. Thank you. Khosi Munsiwa.
Thank you, MEC. Two quick ones. The issue of land. The Department of Rural Development and Land Reform, it's dragging its feet to resolve the land claims. Barlombora Tsidi community, which I lead, was the first to put claims 24 years ago. Up to now, they have not been resolved. Where we are sitting here, Deputy President, it's Mabato. It was taken, this land was taken by Buputatswana when they established the capital of Mabato, of Buputatswana, Mabato. The claim is still standing, it's gazetted. They are busy developing without consulting the claimants. I went to the Premier for intervention. The Premier was able to call the minister. We had a meeting with the minister. The resolutions were taken at that meeting in April, and up to now, nothing has happened. So I'm just putting this one for recording because if I fail to get any help, I might be forced to go to the president. Secondly is that we as traditional leaders have been derived of what other community members are entitled to, just because we have a personal number. We are emerging farmers, we have our small stock. It has been COVID. We are not able to access a COVID relief funding or whatsoever just because we have a personal number. So this thing really, they're still discussing them.
You are protected, Khosi.
Really, we cannot do because government relief and the funding, we are not able to access it because of the personal number. The personal number that Deputy President, when I went to the department for assistance, they told me leave out the chieftainship so that we can be able to help you. Just an official telling me, for us to help you, because we have a personal number, leave the chieftainship, and then we can be able to help you. But it's not doing us any good. I don't know how we can resolve in terms of legislation. And the little money from PESAL that we get, it's a stipend, and we are not pensionable. We traditional leaders are not pensionable. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Khosi Munsiwa. I think the point is taken, very important point. Khosi Mhlabane.
Thank you, MEC. I would like to say hi to our Deputy President, the Deputy Minister, the Premier, and all your entourage. Thank you very much for coming to us. Really, Khosi. Ke Khosi Nyoko Mhlabane, wa Watlaping ba Gamaidi ko Taung. My concern is about the illegal immigrants, the illegal foreigners who are in our areas. They have taken over the economy of our areas. That is the Pakistanis, Bangladeshis, and Somalis. Right now, The Basotos are running away from Gauteng. They are coming to our areas. And you've seen what they have done. These people do not pay tax. And I can say without a doubt, because you will never buy from their shops using your credit card, or you must buy by cash. That clearly shows they are not paying tax. And I'm asking myself, who is benefiting out of this? But our pensioners are using their SASSA cards to change for the monies, but we can't use our credit cards. The government is silent on this. Nobody is looking at what is happening. I mean, people coming from countries in here, I think they must be having places to stay, but if they are business people, they must pay tax. Thank you.
Okay, no, thanks very much. I will then take the last 5 hands and then allow the leadership to make comments and when necessary respond.
Thank you, Program Director.
Ke Kgosi-
MEC, ke Kgosi Maubane,
Okhosi Maubane,
SPP. Your Excellency, the Deputy
ha o ka
President,
itshwaranyana ke ba noted la re Kgosi ke, so that I know that Kgosi Matlapeng, Kgosi Moshwete, ke Kgosi after Kgosi Moshwete, and lastly, that would be the last hand. Thanks very much. Over to you, Kgosi.
thank you, Program Director. Dumelang lohle. Excuse my mask. I just wanted to give a reflection of the state of the status quo of the province, especially at local level. The best term to describe it, MEC, is that it has reached the state of paralysis. It is actually despicable on the ground. When the traditional council members are experiencing such a dreadful life, not to repeat the 350 SNT that they are getting, whereas even some haven't received it at the discretion of government officials. For the past 4 years, our council members are still vying for the 350 allowance that they receive. And the state of the traditional councils as we speak now is such that there is no support. And it is evident that the support given to the traditional institution, it is the discretionary power of the province. But when you look at the various provinces on how they supported or they've been supporting the institution, they vary greatly. There's no uniformity. I mean, it has been from 1996, at the inception of this provincial house, up to now, we are still preaching and crying the very same songs. We should be talking about progress report, achievements of the house and so forth. But we have lots of complaint level to government, level against government, complaints that are not responded to. It just results to a talk show. Every year in, every year out. But I wanted to say, with regard to the traditional council level, that the anticipated formula, threshold that the DG was outlining there, it's going to be a problem. It is not relevant to our province. We should be consulted when we're dealing with the formula around the composition of traditional council, because we are not the same as any other province as far as compositions and the structures of the traditional leadership is concerned. We should be consulted because the 10 number that has been proposed to us, it is going to disturb a number of societies. It's against our societal fabric as the Botswana people, because we know how we are, our makeup. So we need to be consulted when that formula is being formulated. And the setback, another setback that I need to add, is the filling of vacancies. Whenever there's a vacancy at a traditional level or anywhere in this department, it is not filled. It becomes open forever. So we don't know whether the mission is to shorten or our composition. Another disturbing factor is that traditional council and traditional communities are not longer receiving financial reports. Money is taken in every day through our government representative at traditional level, but there is no report given to the community. And this is causing a serious problem. There has to be something done so that the people can be kept abreast with the finances that they are doing. The other one, if I move from the traditional level to the province, it is that in 2016, Deputy President, resolutions were taken at the ANC policy conference. And those resolutions are not implemented at all. Resolutions which would have taken the institution forward. But there is nothing happening. Can we revisit those resolutions and look at the implementing them? Lastly, it is the question of Bahumahadi in the province. Our Bahumahadi used to have a structure that support the institution. And that structure was supported by the provincial government. But up to so far, it has been over 10 years, this Umadi Khosi have been left out in the lurch. Can the province please look into that? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Khosi Mshote.
Thank you very much, Program Director. Thank you very much, the Deputy President, the Premier, Bakudu Tamaha, and all the mayors. My problem is the mining companies which are operating in traditional communities. The mining houses, Deputy President, they are exploiting the community. We don't know of their corporate social investment, their social responsibility, and social labor plans.
There's a mine, I'm going to make an example. As you go towards Freiberg, there's a mine called Cal Gold. It's a Harmony mine. The mine has been operational since the mid-90s. But nothing has been done so far to the community. There are a lot of the Khoisis who have mines.
Ke a leboga motsamaisa tiro ya letsatsi motlotlegi motlatsa presidente motlotlegi premier le botlhe ba le tsamayang le bona maaparankwe badiredipuso ka kakaretso bana ba rona ba ne ba bina fa ke le dumedisa ka pula tla intshwarela motsamaisa lenaneo ga ba molao wa gore go bua puo e feng ya nna ke a go bua ya setlokwa yo buang o ke Kgosi Matlapeng wa batlokwa bo kgosi kwa molatedi ke lebogela puo yotlhe e le buileng ba se le buile mme ke ne ke re ke tsenye dintlha tse pedi tse tharo tse ke boneng di ntshwenya ka kakaretso kganya ntlha ke ntlha ya dimasepala bogolosegolo ya mo porofenseng ya rona ba runang dibuka tsa bona ba tlhalosa gore tsamaiso ya teng e boatla ya re tshwenya re le magosi ya re tshwenya re le baagi ka gore di-service ga di tle go go rona jaaka go tshepisitswe ebe e nna so modiro sa tlwaelo gore ditsela di a tswalwa batho ga ba itumele mme be go blamiwa dikgosi a puso ka kakaretso e ke lebelele gore ke eng tota se se lwelwang ko masepala ka kakaretso ke be ke boa ke tlhagisa gape ntla gore botlhoka tiro ko metseng ya rona ka bašwa bo bontsi bo leng bontsi bona ba tsaya gore rona dikgosi rona tshwanetse re create mebereko kgosi na bua nkgatile ka stipend sa 30,000 se se fiwang di-office for administrative purpose o create ya mmereko ka 30,000 e se le nna dingwaga go na le structure tse di diriwang ko metseng di bidiwa EPWP nna ke nnosi ga ke bone di thusa ka sepe ka gore bana ba teng ba bereka 3 days 4 days mo kgweding e ba tswiwa ka se ba tswiwang ka sona nakong ba lebalwa be ba tla mo go rona ga re itse gore ba hirwa ke mang a e lebelele thata ntlha eo ke boe ke tlhagisa ntlha ya di-office tsa rona bagolo la bona bagolo fa nako ya bona ya tšha bangwe se e tšhaile go tlhokagala gore fela yaka matona a fo pele ga ka le ba ka fotoko ga ka fa bana le ba tlhokomelang dibuka tsa bona gore ka tsatsi le o kopana le mang ka tsatsi le go diragalang ka tsatsi le ga go diragaleng ba tlhoka batho bao le bona secretary a nnosi a ka se ka kgona ga o tsaya kgosi o e lebelela kgosi le nngwe fela o dila ka mafapha o tla puso o dila ka mafapha a e seng a puso a kry di-company tse di rileng ka kakaretso everything se tla kwene ga go tlhoka gore go nna le se sa utlwaneleng foo go se tshwanetse a resolve and ba botlhe ba expect gore ba tse ba kgotsofetse mare go se gana any resource a ka ntse ke bua ka di-PA le tse dingwe ka kakaretso a di ofisa di kgosi di bifapiwe sentle ba kgona go ema sentle ya bofelo motlotlegi motlatsa president ke kopa o laele premier le ba khuduthamaga ba gagwe gore ga di community di lla ba tlile ko bona ba utlweletse sello sa bona a ba boe ba buse dikarabo gore ba bone go ba feletse fokae rena le tlhoba boroko ko rona ba teng mo gare ga rona fa ke tla se ke ba bitsa ka maina ka tlhola ba re ke ba tontlolotse ke kopa ba laela gore ba boele ko go rona ba tlo araba merafe ya rona gore go pheletsong dikgosi di feleletsa di merafe ya tsona e ba lwantsha ka dikgang tsa mafatshe ke tlhoba boroko mo dikgosing ka kakaretso la bofelo re ne re kopile gore re le dikgosi gore a kgosi e nngwe le e nngwe e fiwe a tsura ke mmepe gore something se bontshang gore lefatshe la kgosi e lefelela fo boketekete state land ke se jalo le jalo dimmepe tse re di kry-a re itse gore bothata ke eng ebe ba tle gape ba tlo bontsha ba romele di land meter ba tlo mešara mafatshe a rona sešwa gore go nna le go tlhoka tirisano mmogo le go tlhoka kutlwano ga merafe ya rona ba lwela mafatshe be ba re tsenya mo teng ka di-allegation tse ba di dirang ke a leboga
ra leboga kgosi Matlapeng. I think DP, the first issue that Kgosi was raising is the performance of municipalities, especially in terms of the AG's opinions. The Kgosi indicates that they are worried because they don't know what is it that municipalities are doing, and to a large extent, why is it that there's the whole fight in municipalities, but there's no performance. The second issue that Kgosi raised is the issue of youth unemployment in their areas. That is not assisted even by the 30,000 grant that they are getting because they can't create employment for young people, and they therefore request that government should come on board in terms of this grant, but also in terms of addressing the issue of youth unemployment in the area. Kgosi is also raising the issue that municipalities and government would normally appoint EPWPs in their areas without consulting them, without even indicating what is it that they are going to do. As and when there are problems now, they are supposed to come in as the Kgosi, and they are calling for the DP to engage provincial government to intervene in this situation. Kgosi is also raising a need to review the organizational structure of the traditional councils, because as it is, there are only secretaries and they can't do, and that on its own leave Kgosi with the challenge that they will then have to perform when they do not have a human resource that assist them on the ground. But also the last call is that the Deputy President should please talk to the Premier and the members of the Executive that as and when communities are calling for the provincial government in whatever form, whether it be on marches and whatever, the provincial government must respond, because if they don't, they leave the Kgosi frustrated that they don't know what is it that they should do with the situation, because all responses lies with the provincial government and municipalities. That's basically the 5 points that Kgosi Matlapeng have raised. Lastly, Kgosi.
Ke a leboga MEC. Bagaetsho tla ke le dumediseng lotlhe, the Honorable Deputy President Ntate Mabuza, Ntate Deputy Minister Ntate Bapela, Tona Khola rona Ntate Mape, Majoro wa rona ke a go dumedisa. Honorable MECs that are present here today, di kgosi tsa rona ka tlotlo, ke a le dumedisa ka pula, our officials and honorable guests. Honorable President, Deputy President, something you must see around here is that there's a difference. And I would like you to recognize that there's young leadership under the circumstances of the local government elections. The House of Traditional Leaders has Khosi Maotwe, Khosi Mabalane, our young leaders that are trying to bring change within the province. I am not going to dwell too much on the frustrations of the House because they are there and it's a reality. But I think what we must do is realize that change has come. Change has come in a sense that young leaders have said to themselves that the agenda is to transform, is to be under the fourth industrial revolution, and all the other agendas of transformation to this stage for the well-being of all of us. But in slang, they will say, "Dilo di changes." Basha, they will say in slang, "Dilo di changes." Now, we need our elders to adapt to the changes because things are simpler now. I will try to be more aligned to your introduction speech regarding issues of importance, the royal family and succession plans. Deputy President, we have spent monies, millions of monies, just to identify who is the correct leader for a certain nation, which is not supposed to be. I want to applaud my Deputy Chairperson, Khosi Mabalane, when he spoke to me and said, "Khosi, we need to start recording DNAs. We need to start recording DNAs of leaders and let it be the duty of the House to deal with issues of succession so that we avoid issues of commissions of inquiry." I'm a product of a commission of inquiry, ladies and gentlemen, where it was supposed to be established who is the rightful heir to the throne. The government did not spend any money, but the money came out from the coffers of the community. And it's millions, sir. It's millions of rands. So it's an issue that I feel is close to my heart, that with all of this money we could have spent on community development matters, but we spent it on issues of conflict and factions. If it was 3 million, we could have built a school, but we gave it to the lawyers. I am just going to touch base on these matters point by point as I congratulate my chairperson, Khosi Maotwe, because he touched on the many matters that we actually face. We sat here yesterday and discussed what is it that we want to give you, a Deputy President and Premier. The Deputy President as well touched on the issue of the gender-based violence versus traditional, I would say, bylaws or methods of life. Deputy President, we don't want to see ourselves as the Khosi that are living beyond the Constitution, are defeating the ends of law. Yes, traditionally we used to have corporal. This House is on a vision of trying to synergize itself to the democratic ways of doing things. Abolishments have been made, now we want to synergize so that we can become a society that lives upon what we are saying we are the ones. There are leaders out there that are still living upon corporal punishment. gender-based violence matters. And it paints the whole country black. It paints the whole country black. And to my own opinion, I say, why do we keep benchmarking Northwest with faraway provinces? Why do we keep benchmarking Northwest with faraway provinces when there's an environment here whereby Raitso Batswana are very peaceful people? The answers are here, Mr. President. We should not look outside this door and go look for answers. The answers are right here in front of us. We all have the solution. I want us to maybe go back and remember the basic motto that said going back to basics instead of getting into technicalities. Going back to basics. As traditional leaders, as traditional communities, as Botswana, as Bokone Bophirima, we had a way of living. We know that very well. Now, it is up to all of us as leaders to make sure that we synergize our attitudes and the way of life into the democratic way of living so that we can move forward, because we have many complaints. We have many complaints that can fill the day. We need to come back to the roots. We need to come back to the basics and start developing ourselves in this new society. I will try and rush through my issues. Issues of teenage pregnancy, Deputy President, they are still aligned to gender-based violence. They are still aligned to the social ills. Because but they cannot align themselves to the life of today. I seriously support the issue that it's a command, Deputy President, as a CIC. Every mandate that comes from the top office must be implemented. Do not have people in the country that listened, but they are not doing the right job. Why they call you a commander-in-chief is because you have to command. You have to command. You spoke as well of Invest Rural and how life goes by day with exploitations that are happening. It's true, sir. We are trying to make a difference, but those who think they know better continue with their illegal activities. I can speak of the DMR as a mining community. Many courses in here who have mines, they are not benefiting. As a community, not as an individual. And Bokos is an institution, it's not me. It's an institution. People look at this institution as an individual. Here's the office of the Deputy President. It's not David Mabuza, it's the office of the Deputy President. It's an institution. That's what people miss to understand. Oversight, sir, as you mentioned in your speech, as you mentioned on the issue of oversight, we are trying our level best to align issues of IDPs, SLPs, as well as the DDM projects. Sir, I want you, when you go back to your office, and congratulate the Honorable Gwede Mantashe, Minister of DMRE. He said all the monies are not going to go back to municipalities, they are going to go to the projects. And he reiterated and said, all of you collaborate to make sure that service delivery is delivered. He's our champion in Bojanala, Ntate Mantashe. We are behind him as traditional leaders. My chairperson, local Khoi-San, we are behind him. So we will do our utmost best, sir, for you to see next time when you come back the progress on SEZ and all the DDM projects. There's an issue that arose which is very critical to say, who are we? Are we public office bearers or are we employees? I think it's a matter that I will just throw that them up to your side to say it really needs to be defined. It's been 14 years now since I've been in office and I hear this thing coming up all the time. But all I'm saying is that can somebody have a definition of their posts so that they can perform better? Nonetheless, the issue of benchmarking again, as I said, Eastern Cape, KZN, Mpumalanga. Mr. Deputy President, when you walk out of here, look at all those white vans that are parked outside that were mentioned now that they failed a test. They are driven by the Khoi-San, they are driven by policemen, they are driven by health workers, they are driven by all this society people that are working for us, but they are not in safe hands. Who takes care of the carers? That's the question. How do you give a Khoi-San koloi a failang on a test and you expect him to drive from Moretele to Mafikeng? That's from the end of the province to another end. I cry tears when I see Khoi-San Matibe driving from Moretele to Mafikeng on an agency basis. Ntate. Are we saying, are we planning to buy a coffin soon? That's the question, sir. My last point is that we had a presentation of SASA in here as the house, all traditional leaders. I think we were in Rustenburg. We are struggling with these illegal immigrants. We've got military police, we've got border control, we've got all of those things. But still, right now, every shop in the corner of any leader's village, it's an illegal immigrant. To a point whereby these SASA cards are held by them because batho ba rona ba kolotisa ba gaeso. Ga bana madi. Ba kolotisa, they leave the card with the foreign national. Every month, every time, Mr. President, you press that enter button. You are not pressing it for the residents or the citizens. It's paying back interest somewhere else in another country. We cannot allow the money of this country or the economy of this country to live by your button. We cannot allow our residents in the communities to be held ransom by foreign nationals, whereby when they receive the mere 350, it has interest of 14% at a Pakistani non-registered tax shop. How do we say they must comply? So, Mongwame, I just really wanted to be honest today so that tomorrow, the difference we see is the difference that we represent here. I know my chairperson always says we must not personalize issues. We must always try and deal with matters at a high level and set a principle. But the reality of the matter is that we are here now. We talk here with our communities where they see us as symbols of hope, symbols of opportunities for tomorrow. But when we turn our backs and come and talk here, we become beggars. We cannot be beggars when people see us as the future and a symbol of hope. It cannot be. With those few words, I thank you, sir.
Raleboga Khoi Mamogale, I think indeed dilo di changitse basha ba fitlhile. As I allow, I think we do have an item where the Deputy President will be giving a way forward, but we can as well allow just to make an input around all issues as raised, just to confirm that all issues are being noted, Deputy President, and do whatever the comment in terms of whatever the issues as raised by Makhosi Aruna. Over to you, DP.
House was out for a long time. I kept on checking the chair and listening at people talking. You are very important in this meeting because what you said and what people are saying there should be progress. And you are responsible for that progress. Firstly, DG, I was not happy in the manner we have presented our report. You have tried under the circumstances, but I don't think we've prepared very well to present our report to the traditional leaders. Nevertheless, I'm happy that we have distributed copies to them. That's fine. So they are going to read the report. But when I was looking at the report should be refined in this way. We've categorized all the issues. There are many, almost 20-something issues that were listed, and we have grouped them into work streams. So the report must move from the issues to the work stream.